Alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah, amma ba'd. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Inshallah, we're carrying on with our study of the 99 names of Allah Azza wa Jal. And so far we have taken, how many names? We took the name of Allah, Allah. We took Al-Ilah. We took Ar-Rabb. We took Ar-Rahman. We took Ar-Rahim. We took Al-Malik, the King. And we took Al-Malik. How many names is that? Maths is very bad. How many is that? It has to be an odd number.
5.
It's 5. No, it's more than 5. I think it's 7. Allah, Al-Ilah, Ar-Rahman, Ar-Rahim, Al-Malik, Al-Malik, Ar-Rabb. 7. Inshallah, today we're going to take 2 more. We're going to take Al-Hayy and Al-Qayyoom. So we're going to take a 9. 9. So that's 1/10 of the 99 names of Allah Azza wa Jal. That's 1/10. So we're making progress, inshallah ta'ala. If you guys have missed the previous lessons, on my YouTube channel, inshallah ta'ala, you can find the other videos, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala, okay, on the 99 names of Allah playlist. Anyway, we're going to start with the name Al-Hayy and Al-Qayyoom. Now before I start the name Al-Hayy and Al-Qayyoom, I have to mention something to you. These names, they come together in the Quran together. Al-Hayy and Al-Qayyoom come together. For example, Allahu la ilaha illa huwa al-Hayyul Qayyum. Also, the name of Allah, Al-Hayy, comes separately as well, without Al-Qayyum. It comes without it being connected to Al-Qayyum. And the reason it's important is because Al-Hayy in and within itself has a meaning. And Al-Qayyum in and within itself has a meaning. And there's a different benefit that we can get and a different meaning that we can get when we bring Al-Hayy and Al-Qayyum together. So we're going to study these names today individually. We're going to look at Al-Hayy on its own. Then we're going to look at Al-Qayyum on its own. Then we're going to look at the relationship between the two and what that benefits us. Why Allah Azza wa Jalla chose to put both of these two names together. Both of these two names together. Why? And we're going to do it in those 3 steps. So without any further ado, inshallah ta'ala, let's start with, and they come together, these 2 names, in 3 places. In Ayatul Kursi, Allahu la ilaha illa huwa al-Hayyul Qayyum. Pay attention. Ayatul Kursi, is it the greatest ayah in the Quran? Yes or no? Is it the greatest ayah? So then what does that tell you about these 2 names? Allah started the ayah by saying Allah, introducing Himself. Allah. Who is Allah? Allahu la ilaha illa huwa al-Hayyul Qayyum. Allah said, Allah, who is He? The one there is no one worthy to be worshipped in truth except for Him. Why? Why is He the only one worthy to be worshipped in truth? Al-Hayy al-Qayyum, because He is Al-Hayy and He is Al-Qayyum. Brothers, sisters who are listening, if you didn't know about the importance of these 2 names, then it is enough for me to tell you these names are important as an evidence. The fact that I told you they were at the beginning of Ayatul Kursi. The whole ayah from beginning to end is an ayah just talking about Allah. Allah in Ayatul Kursi is just describing Himself to you. He's just letting you know who He is. And at the beginning of letting you know who He is and introducing Himself, He tells you Al-Hayy al-Qayyum. That should show you how powerful these 2 names are. So be very attentive in this lesson, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala. Another place it comes is in the 2nd ayah of Surah Al-Imran, and it comes at the end of Surah Taha. Allah says, وَعَنَتِ الْوُجُوهُ لِلْحَيِّ الْقَيُّومِ وَقَدْ خَابَ مَنْ حَمَلَ ظُلْمًا. That on the day of judgment, the people's faces will be humbled before Al-Hayy al-Qayyum. Allah described Himself in that way in the context of the day of judgment. But we'll come to those bi'idhnillahi ta'ala in more detail when the time comes. But let's look at Al-Hayy on its own. The name Al-Hayy comes in the Quran 5 times. It comes in the Quran 5 times. 3 of those times, it's connected to Al-Qayyum. 2 of those times, it's not. What does it mean? You have to understand something about the names of Allah. His names are not like our names. Okay? My name is Imran. What does that mean? Even if it has a meaning, the meaning of the word is nothing to do with what my name is. A guy's name might be Ahmed. What does Ahmed mean? What does Ahmed mean? In Arabic, what does it mean? Ahmadu, it means I praise. I praise. We say Ahmadullah, I praise Allah. His name is Ahmed, but he might never even pray. So his name, does it have a meaning? Is the meaning, I'm saying linguistically has a meaning, but with regards to him, does it have a meaning? No, it's just a name. It's like when we say Tom, Michael, Smith, Bakr, Amr, Zaid. These are just names. Like Abu Bakr means what? The father of the camel. But then you find a guy, his name's Abu Bakr. His name's what? His name's Abu Bakr. Right? Mahdi is a name, right? It's a title given to Mahdi who will come. But what? You see a young brother, his mum and dad might have called him Mahdi. The point I'm making is that we as humans, when our parents think of names for us, they don't put a meaning in the name. It's just a name. It's a nice name. Maybe it's from a person that was righteous and they hope we follow in his footsteps. But that name is not necessarily describing me and you. Does that make sense? It's not describing me and you. But Allah's names are different. Allah's names are describing Allah's characteristics. Allah's names are taken from Allah's characteristics. They're taken from Allah Azza wa Jalla's what? His attributes. And so within every name of Allah, you get to learn something about Him. If you picked up the phone and you called me and you said, listen bro, my name is what? My name is Jack, for example, yeah? Or my name is Yusuf. Do I know anything about you? Do I know anything about you? Have I learned anything about you? But like if Allah tells you, I am Ar-Rahim, that's my name. Straight away I know, okay, Allah is merciful. Because the name is taken from a characteristic, Rahmah. Huh? We told you last week, Allah said, I'm Al-Malik. I'm Al-Malik. I'm the king. That's the name. It's taken from which characteristic? Which sifa? Dhu Al-Mulk. The one who owns kingdom. So if Allah tells me my name is Al-Malik, straight away I know, okay, He's got a kingdom. Huh? So Allah's names are taken from characteristics. There is a group of people that came and they deviated from the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ, and they started to say Allah's names don't have meaning. His names don't have meaning, or we don't know their meaning. They either negated the meaning or they said there is no meaning. And I don't want to go into this stuff because I don't want to confuse you. Sometimes people, they know the principles of these other groups and what they believe, and they don't know what their name means. All day he's arguing. Oh, you didn't affirm Allah didn't attribute, which is important to do so. No one's denying that. But like he's arguing for a name, he doesn't understand it himself. So that's why what I want to do is I want to go through the 9 names of Allah, I want you to understand them, and then the next level we'll go to books like Aqeedat al-Wasatiyah, maybe Qawaid al-Muthla by Shaykh Ibn Uthaymeen rahimahullah ta'ala, and we'll learn in more detail. The point I'm making here, I don't want to go off on a tangent, is that Allah's names are taken from a characteristic. And every lesson we will ask ourselves, which characteristic is this name taken from? The name Al-Hayy is taken from a characteristic, a sifa which is Hayya. Hayya means life. Life. Okay? Allah's name Al-Hayy is taken from a characteristic which means life. Okay? So what does that tell you? If Allah's name Al-Hayy is taken from the characteristic which means Hayya, life, what does that tell you about Allah? If I tell you Al-Hayy, what did you learn straight away? That Allah is one who is? He's alive. He's alive. Allah lives. Does that make sense? Now, the thing is, we're familiar with the concept of life because do me and you live? Do we live? Do animals live? We live, right? But our living and Allah's living is not the same. When you say Al-Hayy, it has a specific meaning in there, which is complete life. Al-Haya, a haya which is kamil. It's complete. It's perfect. And that's another rule you have to learn about Allah's names. When we say Allah's name are taken from a characteristic, for example, Al-Khaliq is taken from what? The ability to create, right? Al-Khaliq is taken from the ability to create. So, do human beings create? We do. Ar-Rahman is taken from Rahmah. Ar-Rahmah, do human beings have mercy? No, that Allah's characteristics, they are always perfect and ours are not. Allah's are always complete, ours are deficient. So when I tell you Allah is Al-Hayy and He lives, and this person here, he lives, know that his living is not perfect. His life is not perfect. Allah's life is perfect. And let me give you some examples of Allah's perfect life. Our life began. There was a time when we were Adam, we did not exist. Like in Allah Azza wa Jal, Is it perfect? Can you be considered perfect if you didn't exist at one point? That means non-existence is imperfection, right? You had to be brought into existence. So you had something above you that was greater than you that brought you into existence. Allah is perfect because He never was brought into existence. His life never began. Number 2, Allah Azza wa Jal, His life will never end. He will always live. He will never die. Allah said, وَتَوَكَّلْ عَلَى الْحَيِّ الَّذِي لَا يَمُوتُ. Allah said, depend upon, rely upon the one who lives. Who is He? He does not die. And this is one of the biggest refutation on the Christians. This is one of the biggest refutation on the Christians. We say, do you believe that God can't die? They will say, yes. So tell me, how did Jesus die then? How? How on earth did your God die? When He died, He was killed. Obviously, we don't believe that Isa died. But they believe Jesus died. He was killed. And His life came to an end. So then by virtue of that, your God is not a God. He's a false God. As in, you've made Him into a false God. He's not a real God. He's free from what you attribute, call Him, what you put on Him. And Allah is free from that as well. Does that make sense? Allah's life is perfect. It never ends. And it never started. Number 3, our life gets better the more we grow. The more you grow, then, when you're a baby you can't speak. But then you learn the ability to speak. And you can't walk, so you crawl. And you walk. And when you walk, you run. And then as you grow older, you become stronger. Right? And then you hit puberty, you become more complete. And your intelligence grows. We progress through life. Allah's life was not like that. Allah's life from the beginning there was no beginning, but Allah never had a beginning, but Allah's life always has been perfect. It has always been at the peak of perfection. And what happens to our life towards the end? After it gets to a peak, what happens to us? We start to go back to how we started. Become old, can't control your bowels, you have to wear nappies, your nappies have to be cleaned, you can't walk, you need to be picked up, you end up, you go back to being a baby. Allah Azza wa Jal, that never happens to Him. Never happened to Him. Never will happen to Him. Never can happen to Him. Allah, His life never began and never will end. It doesn't progress to perfection, nor does it regress to imperfection. It's always been, always will be, and is perfect. And that's what makes Allah Azza wa Jal, His life different to ours. And makes His life perfect. Now pay attention. If I told you Allah's life is perfect, then this should tell you some things about Allah. Because Allah's names are not isolated, they're connected. Allah Azza wa Jal's names are connected. As we talked last week, we said if you say Allah is Al-Malik, the king, then that means He has what? He has quwwah, He has strength. So He's Al-Qawi, that's another name of Allah, the mighty, the strong. He's not just that, He's Al-Aziz, the honourable one, because the king has honour, right? And He's Ar-Rahim. And we went through this because the names are connected to one another. Al-Hayy is such a powerful name that it gives you a window to so many other names of Allah Azza wa Jal. Because if Allah lives, then one who lives, does he not see? So Allah sees. If you live and you don't have the ability to see, is that perfection? Is that perfection? Is the person who's blind perfect? Is he perfect? He's imperfect. So Allah does not have any imperfections. Because if we said Allah's life is complete, it's perfect, then everything that comes with life, Allah has. And He has it perfect. So does Allah see? His seeing is perfect, which means He sees everything and anything. Even if it's all happening at the same time, He sees it all. Does He hear? That's why one of Allah's names is what? Al-Basir, the one who sees. Does Allah hear? His hearing is perfect. If all of us came together at the same time we spoke, Allah Azza wa Jal would hear each and every single one of us at the exact same time. He hears all the time and He always has been hearing. What about knowledge? Does a being that lives have knowledge? If you don't have knowledge, that means you're ignorant. Is ignorant perfection, or is it what? A deficiency? So Allah cannot have any deficiencies. So if Allah has knowledge, which is perfect, then that means He has knowledge of everything that was, everything that will be, everything that can be, everything that should be, in each and every single way, shape, form. Again, this is a refutation of the Christians. Because for them, Jesus, He never had perfect knowledge. He lived right. His life wasn't perfect because according to them, He died, so God died. Number two, God did what? He didn't have knowledge. If I'm not mistaken, in the Gospel of Matthew, a man came to Jesus and he said, when is the hour? And He said, no one knows. Not even the Son, not even the angels in the heaven. Only the Father. So if He's God, how does He not know that hour that He set? The day of judgment, He apparently set it. How does He not know the time that He set? Either He forgot. One or two options. Either He forgot or He's lying. And both are imperfect. Forgetting is imperfection and lying is imperfection. And if that's what you attribute towards your God, then your God is not perfect. And if He's not perfect, He can't be God anymore. So through Allah's name, Al-Hayy, you get a window into so many things about Allah Azza wa Jal. For example, someone who's a being that's living, does a being that's living do? Does a being that's living do stuff? So does Allah do stuff? But when you do stuff, do you get tired? Does Allah get tired? Allah said, يَسْأَلُهُ مَنْ فِي السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ كُلَّ يَوْمٍ هُوَ فِي شَأْنٍ. Allah said, whoever is in the heavens and the earth, they are asking Allah, they're begging Allah, they're making dua to Allah. And what did He say? كُلَّ يَوْمٍ هُوَ فِي شَأْنٍ. Every day, Allah Azza wa Jal is what? He's doing something. He's bringing forth a matter. Someone, He's giving honor to him. Someone, He's taking honor away. Someone, He's giving them death. Someone, He's giving them life. Someone, He's giving them rizq. Someone, He takes their rizq away. Allah Azza wa Jal is doing these things. Subhanahu wa ta'ala. So, Allah is perfect. Now, if you know you have a Lord who is perfect, how should you be to Him? We now know, okay, Al-Hayy means Allah, you're perfect, your life is perfect, and everything that a perfect life implies, you have it. You have it. At its peak and perfection, without any stain or deficiency. So if I know that that's my Lord, that's Allah, then how should that make me towards Him? Again, Allah tells us, it should make you worship Him, and worship Him alone. Why? Because what is worship? Brothers and sisters, what is worship? Worship is two things. Worship is love, complete love, and complete humiliation. And when a human being sees something that is amazing, the human being can't help except love it, appreciate it. Like you might see some kids at a school sports day, and it might not even be your younger brother or your son, but you see the kid just whiz through all the other kids and win the race. You'll get up and you'll be like, wow, that was amazing. Like you appreciate, do we not appreciate greatness? Like when you see something like me, I don't even watch football. And I personally believe football is haram. And that's a discussion for a different day. Yeah, I'm not playing it, but watching it. But every now and again, you might see a goal being scored. And I'm like, yo, that was mad. Like, I appreciate greatness. That was mad. Like, I actually scored a goal at the guy. You know what I'm saying? We appreciate greatness. So when you hear that about Allah, that's greatness. That's greatness. And when you appreciate greatness, and you love it, what do? You humble yourself before it. Like, do you not humble yourself before your parents? When you love your parents, then you put your head, yes, mom, what would you like to do? Does that make sense? You humble yourself. So when we look at Allah's greatness, it should make us, wow, Allah, you never sleep, like, ever. You know everything. You know everything. You hear everything. You see everything. You provide it. Like, you're perfect. That should make you go, wow. And that element of wow, that's praise. That's when you say Alhamdulillah. That's what Alhamdulillah means. Like you're praising Allah for all of His perfect characteristics and attributes. You're worshipping Him. And you're worshipping Him in a way where you put yourself low. You realize, Allah, I'm not on your level. I'm nowhere near. Allah, I'm low. I'm a slave. Look at me. I sleep. I get tired. Like I can't even go a few hours without having to take a break. Allah, you always have been doing. providing, maintaining, sustaining. And you never got tired once. And then what do? You just submit yourself in worship to Him. You can't help but just fall down on your head and say, Subhana Rabbika al-A'la. And that's why the first thing is you worship Him. That's why Allah said, Allahu, what? La ilaha illa hu al-Hayyul Qayyoom. Allah is the one who there is no one worthy to be worshipped in truth except Him. Al-Hayy. That's why. Because He's ever living. That's the first thing. Number two, because He's Al-Hayy, you only rely upon Him. When you rely upon someone, it's because that person might be able to help you, right? Alaykum as-salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. When you rely upon someone, is it because that person can help you? Like in a person who's deficient, would you choose him over someone who is not as deficient as him? And you know this person's going to let you down. You want someone to pick you up, or you want someone to help you with something, and you're only going to come late, or they're going to let you down. Would you pick this person over one who would come on time? Would you do that? No. But then Allah said, He's always perfect. So why would you even ask anyone for help other than Him? That's why Allah said, وَتَوَكَّلْ عَلَى الْحَيِّ الَّذِي لَا يَمُوتُ. Have trust, have reliance, have tawakkul upon who? Al-Hayy, the one who lives a complete and perfect life. La yamut, He will never die. Alladhi la yamut, He cannot die. He will never end. Which means, when I got married, I told my wife, I said to her, listen, I said, don't make me the sole object of your desire. Because I will let you down. I'm a human being. I'm not perfect. There's going to be times at night, you might have a bad dream, you might be stressed, and you want to talk to someone. You're going to wake me up, I'm going to say, I've got work in the morning, darling. I'm going to go back to sleep. I don't actually say darling. But I say, look, I've got work in the morning. And then when I let the way you see it is like, right, I just reached out to you and I just put myself on the line for you, and you just didn't give it to me. You didn't give me the time that I needed. And you'll be heartbroken, you'll be disappointed. I said, don't do that. I said, instead of waking me up, go to Allah. Because Allah is not sleeping at that time. He never is. Allah, why would you come to me? Why would you ask me? Why would you ask me? Everyone hates being asked except for Allah. Ask Him. Allah is not one to let you down. Allah will always be there. He will always fulfill His promises to you. So rely upon Him. Alladhi la yamut. He will never die. He cannot die. He's always living, always perfect. Does that make sense? Now, the first thing is you worship Him. The second thing is you rely upon Him. The third thing, look, Allah mentioned His name Al-Hayy again. What did He say? Allah said, Huwa Al-Hayy. He is Al-Hayy. By the way, this is how the Quran works. You know, a huge portion of the Quran, for those of us who read it, I hope we read it every day, minimum 15 pages a day, because you should finish it 40 days, every 40 days minimum you should finish the Quran. That's the minimum. So from these masahif here, that's 15 pages a day. You should read that as the minimum. I'm saying, if you read, you'll find over and over, you turn over the pages, As-Sami' al-Basir, wa huwa Sami' al-Alim, wa huwa ala kulli shay'in qadir. You're just reading Allah's names and His attributes, names, attributes. So if you don't know these names, you won't understand the Quran. But when you know these names, suddenly you start to understand the Quran. So when you say Allah said, Huwa al-Hayy, the translation is just so weak. He's alive, or He's ever living. What does that mean? You don't get it. But then Allah is describing Himself. Huwa al-Hayy. He is the one who's ever living. La ilaha illa hu. Again, tell me, worship Him. Don't worship anyone else besides Him. Then Allah said, Fadu'uhu. Make dua to Him. Why? Because He's always living. And He's perfectly living. He's always listening. And not only is always listening, He's always responding. This is so deep if you think about it for a second. Wallahi, it is so deep if you think about it for a second. There's never a time ever when you ever lifted your hands to make dua to Allah except He was listening. He was listening. Your dua was heard. Was it responded to? That's a different story. Sometimes we're sinning. We raise our hands with blood. Not literally. Some do literally. We raise our hands, and as soon as you put it down, with the same hand you pick up a cigarette. Raise your hands. With the same hands you go and you watch some filth online. With these same hands what? You go grab a woman. So sins are a reason for dua to be prevented. With the same hands, you make haram money. The point is, Allah is always listening. He just told you, leave off these bad things, ask me, focus when you make dua, mean it, and then I'll respond. And I'll respond. If someone has that ability, that perfect ability, and he has the... Look, if you go to a rich man, and you ask him for money, and you know he's very rich, and you also know he's generous, he likes to give. He likes to give. When you go to him and you ask him for like a little bit of money, is he going to say no to you? He's going to give it to you, right? You expect it, so you walk away with maybe like, you walk away with like £100. You might walk away with like £200. But like, وَلِلَّهِ الْمَثَلِ الْأَعْلَى. The example of Allah Azza wa Jal is greater. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is what? He is, you know He's generous. And you know He has a kingdom, a bounty, from which He can just give. And not only that, you know that whenever you ask Him, He's listening. Why? Because He's ever living. And His life being perfect means everything about Him is perfect, so His listening is perfect. And He's never taking a break. He's never getting tired. لا تأخذه سنة ولا نوم. He doesn't start to feel drowsy. He doesn't take a nap. وَالْعِيَاذُ بِاللَّهِ. He's always attentive, subhanahu wa ta'ala. And with that, He is listening to you. And you know that it's very easy for Him to give you what you want. He's generous. He wants to give it. He wants to give it. كُلَّ يَوْمٍ هُوَ فِي شَأْنٍ. Every day, He's giving. Every day, He's responding. But the issue is, like I said, when we ask, we don't ask completely. We don't ask completely. We ask how? Half-heartedly. We ask for sins. When you pray and you stand here and you pray in salah, Allah, He hears. That salah was so bad that you probably didn't even listen to yourself, because your mind was somewhere else thinking about some other nonsense that you and me probably don't even remember what we said. Like, wallahi, imagine having a conversation with someone, you're talking to them but you're on your phone, you're not really talking to them. The person's, you just disrespected him. Like, you stand before Allah, He's actually listening. Don't think He's not listening. He hears. But what do you mean, what you and me do? We just keep it moving. The point here is, Allah said, Huwa al-Hayy. He is the one who's perfectly living. La ilaha illahu. Worship Him alone. No one worthy to be worshipped in truth except for Him. Fadu'uhu. Make dua to Him. And then look what Allah said. Mukhlisina lahu ad-din. Make dua to Him with sincerity. Don't do any shirk. Don't do any shirk in your ibadah. Don't worship anyone else besides Allah. Why? Like we said, they don't deserve it. Some people go to the... Wallahi, I don't know how, after hearing this ayah, anyone can go to the grave of the Prophet ﷺ and lift their hands and ask the Prophet. Allah said, إِنَّكَ مَيِّتٌ وَإِنَّهُمْ مَيِّتُونَ. Allah said, Muhammad, you are going to die. And they will die. And did the Prophet die? He's dead. With that, they're raising their hands asking Him sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Or they go to a saint and they'll ask Him. They go to a grave, ask. They go to an idol, they ask. But like in these people, they've died. And Allah's telling you, the one who dies doesn't deserve to be worshipped. No one deserves it except for the one who never dies. And like we said, with that is a big refutation on the Christians. So we said, after learning, because I want to make sure we contextualize the discussion, we're learning Allah's name Al-Hayy. We learned what it means. With that we learnt what? Now that He has got a perfect life and what that entails, how should we be in response to that perfect life? And we mentioned the 3 verses where Allah mentioned His name Al-Hayy. 1, pushing us to worship Him after we know He's Al-Hayy. Number 2, pushing us to rely upon Him and no one else because He's Al-Hayy. Number 3, pushing us to make dua to Him because He's Al-Hayy and not doing any shirk. Does that make sense? Now I want to mention a point here. I don't want to get too technical, but it's important to mention and introduce you to some principles of Aqidah. Okay? I told you at the beginning there's a group that denies Allah Azza wa Jall's names and His attributes. The reason why they deny Allah's names and attributes is a long story, and to give you that context is going to take us off on a huge tangent. But what I will suffice myself with is that their point here that they come to eventually is that they say you're comparing Allah to the creation. So when you say that Allah, He is Al-Wadud, He's all loving, you're saying that the creation loves as well. And you're saying the creation loves. So are you saying Allah is like the creation? And didn't Allah say, Laysa kamithlihi shay? There is nothing like Allah. So you just compared Allah to what? You just compared Him to what? The creation. So you done shirk. They say you done shirk. They call you a mujassim. They call you a person who's doing tashbih. You're comparing Allah Azza wa Jal to His creation. So that's how they try to flip it on you. Sounds interesting, huh? It's batil. Because the same ayah where Allah said, Laysa kamithlihi shay, that nothing compares to Him, what did He say right after that? وَهُوَ السَّمِيعُ الْبَصِيرُ. Allah said, and He hears and He sees. So what Allah is trying to tell you is that He hears and He sees, but He doesn't hear and see the way me and you hear and see. He's trying to tell you that He is loving, but He doesn't love the way me and you love. Does that make sense? So when it comes to Allah's names and attributes, we say, look, we share the name with Allah, but not the meaning, not the how. The same way, you see that clock right there, what do you see in the middle of the clock? Hands, right? What do you see right here on my arm? You see hands. The clock has a hand and I have a hand. Like it is my hand and the clock's hand the same? It shares the name but not the same meaning. What does this have, right? What's this? The legs of the table. What's it connected to my knee? My legs. Or connected to my hip rather, because they start here. My legs, right? So you're going to say what? You ever had anyone get offended? Why are you calling me a table for, bro? Guy said, oh bro, how are your legs today? Call him on a table, bro. Disrespect him out here, bro. Don't look like a table, bro. For you to what? Sit on? No one says that. And that's amongst us. But then why is it that you don't have that understanding for Allah Azza wa Jal? If you say that Allah's names and attributes don't have a meaning, what you've done is, they do one of two things. Either they divert the meaning, they do something called ta'wil. For example, when Allah said that He created Adam, He said, خَلَقْتُهُ بِيَدَيْ. Allah said, I created him with my 2 hands. I created him with my 2 hands. They say, you said Allah has a hand. A'udhu billah, look at you. Now, look at you, you're a kafir. You done shirk. Yeah, I have a hand, you have a hand. And now you say Allah has a hand. So what they said hand here can't mean hand. Hand here can't mean hand. Hand here has to mean blessing. Some say it means blessing, some say it means Allah's power. So we say, what do you mean Allah's power? We know Allah's got power. We know Allah's got strength. They said here it means Allah's power and strength. We said that is so batil. Because Allah said, خَلَقْتُهُ بِي يَدَيْ. I created him with my 2 hands. So if yaday or yad here for Allah means power, are you saying Allah's power is only 2? Allah only has 2 strengths? I thought Allah's power was unlimited. Huh? Or they say, it means blessing, it doesn't mean power. So Allah only has 2 blessings? What happened to the ayah? You will never count the blessings of Allah, but you just counted them too. How can you say Allah only has 2 blessings? What's wrong with you? So they fall into all these kind of traps. And there's another one that they do what? They do tafweed. They say we don't even know the meaning, man. There's no meaning here. So that means the Quran, a huge portion of which is nothing except Allah's names and attributes. Whole ayat are just Allah's names and attributes. All of Ayatul Kursi. It just has no meaning. And then they go on like that. And then they say, what? And this is the stuff that, like the Sufis, the Ash'aris and whatnot, and these groups and sects, they believe this stuff. The Shia, the Mu'tazila, and they all have these beliefs. I don't want to go off on a tangent. The point I'm making here is that we have one, you see, they can't deny all of Allah's attributes though. They pick and choose. Allah's got 99 names, right? They don't reject all of them. Because if they just rejected all of them, they'd be in big trouble. If they rejected Allah's name Al-Hayy, what would happen to them? then you don't have a God that lives. Your God doesn't live. So that's why the majority of them, they affirm Allah's characteristic and name Al-Hayy. This one they don't play games with. So now we call them. We say, you affirm Al-Hayy. You affirm Al-Hayy. We have two answers for them now. We have two answers. This is why if you know the name Al-Hayy, you can refute them on everything else. So we have two answers for you. Number one, the problem that you have with Allah's names, other names, you should have the same problem with Hayy. Because you deny Allah being Al-Wadud, the loving one, because me and you love, but you affirm Al-Hayy, the one who lives, but me and you live. But they say, oh, but Allah's living is not like our living. I say, there you go, my brother. I say, you jumped onto the wave now. Apply that to all of them. That's the first way to respond. You know what the second way is? The second way is, Allah's name Al-Hayy, if you affirm Allah's life is perfect, and a perfect life, we spoke about it earlier, it necessitates things like knowledge, complete knowledge, because one who lives has knowledge. If you say Allah lives but He doesn't have knowledge, you've just insulted Allah because you say He's Jahil. You say Allah is Jahil, He's ignorant. But you can't say that about Allah. So you have to say He is what? He is Mu'in. He's one who has knowledge. But like in His knowledge is what? It's perfect, it's kamil. Okay, can you say someone lives but they're blind? You can't say Allah is blind. That's a deficiency. So you have to say Allah sees everything. You can't say, okay, Allah lives. You can't say, if a person lives but he's deaf, what would you say? It's a deficiency. Allah is not deaf. Allah is. So He hears everything. And you can just do that with all of the other names of Allah Azza wa Jal. You can go through so many like that. So then what? It's not just one you're affirming, it's the others. But because there's a disease in their heart, and they opposed not one ayah, not two ayah, not one hadith, not two hadith, and they oppose the methodology of the Salaf Salih. This is why you have to follow Salaf Salih. Because what? Sahaba never had these issues. They understood and they explained these names of Allah as we understand them today. Their students, they explain these names as we understand them today. And that's why we were commanded to follow these three noble generations. That's a quick short point, an introduction to Aqidat al-Wasatiyah and beyond, inshallah ta'ala. Was that interesting? Was it complicated? Did that make sense? I can't wait to get into that stuff with you guys, inshallah. What I would love to do one day, maybe we can do this right after we finish the 9 names of Allah, is go through Imam Daraqutni's Kitab al-Sifat. Would you guys like that? Kitab al-Sifat. It's the book on Allah's characteristics. It's hadith, it's a tough book, hard stuff. It's ilm al-hadith. But go for a lot of stuff in there, inshallah ta'ala. And he wrote it as a defense of the Aqidah of Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah. Anyway, that's the name Al-Hayy. Let's go to Al-Qayyoom. Let's go to Al-Qayyoom. Okay? Al-Qayyoom comes from a sifa of Allah Azza wa Jal, which is Qayyumiyah. What's Qayyumiyah? It is the ability to maintain, to provide, to protect someone. Like Allah Azza wa Jalla said in the Quran, الرجال قوامون على النساء. الرجال قوامون على النساء. Allah said the men have been made as maintainers and protectors over the women. الرجال قوامون على النساء. The men have been made قوامون. They've been made to قوام, like from قام, to stand. I stand up, right? But I could stand up, but I could stand up physically, I could stand up metaphorically. I could stand up conceptually. You see, a person says, you never stood up for me, bro. He doesn't mean I never stood up and actually got on my feet. He means you never defended me. So in Arabic, similar, we say, you know, قوامون للنساء. The man, the men, the husbands, they're there to stand for the affairs of the women, protect them, provide for them, maintain for them. Does that make sense? So it comes from that meaning. But when we say Allah is Al-Qayyoom, He also stands to maintain, to sustain, to support, to protect, to help, to aid, right? His creation. The name Al-Qayyum, it can be divided into two ways. It can be understood in two ways. The first way is that Allah is qa'imun li nafsih. He stands for himself. He is independent. In other words, I need someone to be a qa'im for me. I need someone to stand to maintain me, to support me. Allah doesn't need anyone to support him. Allah doesn't need anyone to maintain him. He doesn't need anyone to protect him, anyone to provide for him. Allah Azza wa Jal is qa'imun li nafsi. He is the best way to translate that is he is independent. In and within himself, he's independent. He stands alone. He doesn't need anyone. Now, if you've just said Allah is al-Qayyoom, meaning he is qa'imun, he stands for himself, then some of Allah's other names come out of this. I told you the names are all connected, right? Which is what? If he's independent, what is he? He's al-Ghani, which means he's rich. He's sufficed. He doesn't need anything. And ghina here is not in terms of wealth, necessarily. But someone who's ghani means he doesn't need anything. You need something, because you're a faqir. But Allah is ghani. He is al-ghani. He needs no one. He needs nothing. For example, Allah said, Ya ayyuhan nas, antumul fuqara'u ila Allah, wallahu huwal ghaniyul hamid. Allah said, O mankind, you are all poor. Fuqara. You know, in the Arabic language is miskeen and it's faqir. Does anyone know the difference? Faqir is worse. You see, a miskeen is one who doesn't have the ability for his or her day-to-day needs. As in, they're struggling with the bills, they got money, then they don't have money, they don't have a consistent way to take care of all of their needs. But they're not homeless on the streets. Like in a faqir is one, he doesn't even have food for tonight. Al-qutul yawmi wal-layl, the food for tonight and the day, he doesn't even have it. It's a needy person, needy, faqir. Allah said, Ya ayyuhan nas, antum al-fuqara'u ila Allah, wallahu huwa al-ghaniyul hamid. Allah is the one who's rich, he needs nothing. Another ayah, Allah Azza wa Jal, in the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, hadith Qudsi from the Arba'un al-Nawawi, he said, إنكم لن تبلغوا ضري فتضروني ولن تبلغوا نفعي فتنفعوني. Allah said, I'm so sufficed from you. I'm so rich. I'm so independent of you that you can't do any harm to me. I'm out of your league. There's no league. Allah Azza wa Jal said, I'm above. You can't harm me. And not only is it that you can't harm me, Allah said, you can't even benefit me. You can't bring me any good. You can't do me any bad. And then Allah gave an example. He said, Ya ibadi, O my slaves, لو أن أولكم وآخركم وإنسكم وجنكم. If the first of you and the last of you, from the humans and the jinn, from the beginning to the end, Allah said, كانوا على أتقى قلب رجل واحد منكم. If you were all, from the beginning to the end, the humans and the jinn, if you were all pious, so pious that you all had the piety of the most pious man from all of you. Like, who's the most pious man from the humans? The Prophet ﷺ. So imagine, if we were all like the Prophet ﷺ, from the beginning to the end, the humans and the jinn. Allah said, مَا زَادَ ذَلِكَ فِي مُلْكِ شَيْئًا. Allah said, that would not increase my kingdom in anything. Nothing. Allah said, وَلَوْ أَنَّ أَوَّلَكُمْ وَآخِرَكُمْ وَإِنسَكُمْ وَجِنَّكُمْ كَانُوا عَلَى أَفْجَرِ قَلْبِ رَجُلٍ وَاحِدٍ. Allah said, if the beginning to the end, the humans and the jinn, all of you were evil, and you were evil as the most evil heart from amongst you, what's the most evil? Fir'aun. Is the human being worse than Fir'aun? And Iblis, is he not a jinn? Imagine everyone was like Iblis. Allah said, مَا نَقَصَ ذَلِكَ مِنْ مُلْكِ شَيْئًا. It would not decrease anything from my kingdom. You can't harm me, Allah said. You can't harm me, you can't do nothing to me. Allah is not in need. But like in us, we need good to be done to us, and harm can reach us. So we should be in a constant state of begging, Allah please give me good, Allah please take away harm. And brothers, sisters, everyone hates to be asked. hates it except Allah. Yet whenever we're in trouble, doctor, money, I need it. I know someone who's got some money. Like we always want to ask people. And then what happens when all else fails? They come and they say, okay, let me ask Allah. Someone's dying, they got a disease, they go to a doctor, they go fund me, they raise money for what? Some epic treatment, a new drug trial. When it fails, they come and they say, let's try and do it, okay, let's try and do this Quran. Allah is always the last option. He's not the first. When He is the one, He is in control of all of these affairs. And by the way, the first argument that we proved that Jesus can't be God was from the angle of Al-Hayy, because Jesus died, right? From the angle of Al-Qayyoom, we can do the same. We can prove that Jesus, and we can prove the Prophet ﷺ, and we can prove any other thing that is worshipped besides Allah is falsely worshipped. Why? Because the only one that is independent and not in need of anyone else besides Himself, He lives independently, is Allah. Everything else is in need. So if you can prove that this God that you worship needs something, then what have you done? You've proved He's no longer a God. So did Jesus need? Jesus was in the womb of His mother. He needed His mother. What happens inside of the mother? You provided nutrients. When He came out, He needed to eat. And after He needed to eat, He needed to sleep. Come on, man, in the Bible He's calling for dates to be brought to Him, and He's sleeping, and He's needy. The Prophet ﷺ was needy himself. He needed stuff. So how can you worship him, sallallahu alayhi wasallam? How can you worship Isa alayhi salam? Look at this Christmas, huh? They're going to worship him. Call out to him. Wal-iyadhu billah. This is wallahi, the deficiency in people's minds. It doesn't make any sense to me, wallahi. And it shows you that it's because the hearts are diseased. The hearts are weak. How can a person worship something? You've affirmed to me he's needy. Okay, he's needy. I'm needy too. Jesus needs to. I need to sleep too. Okay, Jesus is a better man than me. He's righteous than me. Yeah, 10, 100, 4,000 times better than me. But is he needy? So he's like me. So why am I going to ask someone just like me? Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam was the greatest man. No one's touching him. Like, was he needy? So was I. So am I. So how am I going to ask someone that needs just like me? How am I going to beg someone who needs just like me? And that's why Allah Azza wa Jal said, أُولَٰئِكَ الَّذِينَ يَدْعُونَ يَبْتَغُونَ إِلَىٰ رَبِّهِمُ الْوَسِيلَةِ. Allah said, these people that you call, you make dua to Jesus, you make dua to these saints, you make dua to Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, you make dua to what, these sheikhs or whatever have you. Allah said, they themselves, يَبْتَغُونَ, they are what? إِلَىٰ رَبِّهِمُ الْوَسِيلَةِ. They're seeking nearness to Allah. They themselves are trying to get near to Allah. أيهم أقرب ويرجون رحمته ويخافون عذابه إن عذاب ربك كان محذورا. Allah said they are worried. Jesus is worried. He wants Allah's mercy and he fears the punishment of Allah. And Muhammad ﷺ, he wants Allah's mercy and he also fears the punishment of Allah. On the day of judgment, what are they all going to say? نفسي نفسي اذهبوا إلى غيري اذهبوا إلى Musa, اذهبوا إلى نوح, اذهبوا إلى Ibrahim. Leave me, I'm concerned about myself. Go to someone else. Go to Moses, go to Abraham, go to Jesus. They'll send you away, the prophets themselves. They'll all be sending each other away. And they'll go to the Prophet ﷺ, and what do? They'll fall into sajda. Will the Prophet help you? Will the Prophet intercede for you? مَنْ ذَا الَّذِي يَشْفَعُ عِنْدَهُ إِلَّا بِإِذْنِهِ. Who has the authority? Who has the right to do shifa'a, to intercede? Except if Allah gives permission, the Prophet will stand. He will ask Allah for permission. Allah, can I intercede? Allah will give him permission. He will go into sajda. And when he goes into sajda, he will praise Allah. Will he bring the words from himself? Even he doesn't know how to praise Allah on that day the way that Allah needs to be praised. So Allah will inspire the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam with praises in a way that Allah has never been praised before. So Allah himself is what is helping the Prophet ﷺ in order to be able to do the shafa'ah in the first place. And then Allah will say, what? Irfa' ra'sak. Lift your hand, Muhammad. Qul yusma. Speak. Today you'll be heard. Sal. Ask. Tu'ta. You'll be given. Washfa' to shafa'. Seek intercession. We will give it to you. Who is doing this? Muhammad ﷺ? Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam? Khalilullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam? No, it's his Rabb. Allah is doing this. He's giving him the ability, the permission to do the intercession. So why would you worship someone else besides him? And brothers, don't think some of you are sitting there thinking, okay, I'm alright, this doesn't apply to me, I don't worship anyone besides Allah. We show off, man. In our ibadah, even then it's not pure for Allah's sake. You give charity, someone's got to know. You put up a status on Facebook or Instagram or a little da'wah quote, but we know why you're doing it, bro. Because straight away you're looking at how many likes you got, how many people saw it. You pray and someone walks in and it all starts to change. So this is shirk al-asghar, you're doing ibadah for other than Allah. I can purify. If you really are a person who's upon tawheed, then why are you asking anyone else other than Allah? Why ibadah is it for anyone else other than Allah? It should be for Him. Why are you doing ibadah for someone who just walked past and watched you? They need to do ibadah themselves. You're trying to impress them. They need to impress Allah themselves. The second thing that we learn is that Allah Azza wa Jal, first we said He stands, He's independent for Himself. He's qa'imun li nafsi. He's independent for Himself. He stands for Himself. The second thing is qa'imun ala kulli nafs. He stands for every other soul, every other person, every other thing in creation. Look what Allah said. أَفَمَنْ هُوَ قَائِمٌ عَلَى كُلِّ نَفْسٍ بِمَا كَسَبَتْ وَجَعَلُوا لِلَّهِ شُرَكَاءَ قُلْ سَمُّوهُمْ. Allah said, then the one who is qa'im, he stands, he provides, he preserves, he maintains, he sustains every other thing. Not only that, but he even has knowledge of what they've done in good and bad. Allah said, that's Allah. وَجَعَلُوا اللَّهِ شُرَكَاءَ. But they still refuse to worship Him. They worship who? The one who needs Allah. قُلْ سَمُّوهُمْ. Allah said, say, who is it that you're worshipping? What are you worshipping? Who are you calling upon? Who is this being that you think is great? Does he need? He's not great. He might have greatness, but he's not great. He's not al-great. He's not al-akbar, the greatest. No. So Allah. So why are you searching for this in anyone else other than Him subhanahu wa ta'ala? Not just that, Allah, He maintains the heavens and the earth. Look, the heaven, the sky is what? The sky is a ceiling. But who keeps it hanging? Who supports it without any pillars? Allah said, وَمِنْ آيَاتِهِ أَن تَقُومَ السَّمَاءُ وَالْأَرْضُ بِأَمْرِهِ. Allah is the one that from His signs, Allah said, from His signs is that the heavens and the earth, they stand, they preserve, they maintain from Allah Azza wa Jall's command. Allah is the one who's doing that. You, me, who's making your heart beat? Are you doing that? Who's making your heart beat right now? Me and you do that? Allah Azza wa Jalla is actively making all of our hearts beat right now. Blink is natural. It's on autopilot. Who makes you blink? Have you thought something so small you take for granted? If you never blinked, your eyes would become dry, they would dry out, they would fall out, you'd go blind. But Allah made you blink and you never had to think about it. You didn't have to think. This is what Allah Azza wa Jalla does for us. And that's why the Prophet ﷺ taught us to make a dua every morning. And brothers, I want you to learn this dua by next lesson, inshallah. Learn it by next lesson. So I'm going to ask you at the beginning, at the end. Every Fajr, after the Prophet makes dua, and after every Asr. Ya Hayy, Ya Qayyoom, برحمتك أستغيث أصلح لي شأني كله ولا تكلني إلى نفسي طرفة عين. Allah will say, Ya Hayy, oh, the one who is ever living. Ya Qayyoom, the one who stands for me, who provides for me, who maintains me, who sustains me, who does everything for me. Astaghithu. Istighatha means I'm begging you, right? I'm in need. I'm asking you. It doesn't just mean I'm asking, it means I'm begging. I'm in such dire need right now. What are you asking? You're saying, أصلح لي شأني كله. Allah, perfect all of my affairs. Let everything go. Let everything, my health, perfect it. My relationships, perfect them. My mind, my sanity, my rizq, everything, my productivity, my ibadah, my spirituality, my deen. Allah, أصلح لي شأني كله. Everything about me, perfect it. Look at that. Can you perfect everything about yourself? Can you even think to try and become perfect in everything? To be fixed in everything? To be rectified in everything? Can you fix all your problems? No, but Allah can. So you can't even think today I'm going to fix all my problems. You can't even do that. You've got so many problems. But you can ask Allah for that. And then would you say, وَلَا تَكِلْنِي إِلَىٰ نَفْسِي. And Allah, do not let me rely upon myself طَرْفَةَ عَيْنٍ, for even the blink of an eye. Don't let me rely on myself for even the blink of an eye. Don't let me do that, Ya Allah. Why? Because if Allah left you to yourself for the blink of an eye, you'd have to make your heart beat, you'd have to make your lungs breathe, you'd have to bring your own rizq. Just stop. How are you going to make your heart beat? If Allah just left you, stop. I'm not going to do anything for you. For 1 second. Dead. Destroyed. Brothers, when you learn these names, you make dua with them, you live by them. So I want you all, please, billah alik, memorize this dua. Wallahi, if you didn't memorize it, if you're smart, you just have to go into YouTube, type in the dua, or go into Instagram, Hayy al-Qayyoom dua. It will come up. It will come up. Ask someone, after the class finishes, talk, find someone's got it online. Someone's already probably memorized it. Someone probably write it out for you. Sisters, do the same thing. Next week, please have this dua memorized. After every Fajr, you read it, and after every Asr, you read it, inshallah ta'ala. Does that make sense? Good. So now let's look at the two names of Allah Azza wa Jal together. Now let's look at I'm sorry, I know I'm going a bit longer. It's a longer lesson. It's supposed to be an hour, and we're about to touch an hour. But these are really important names. That's why I need to. The other names they don't have as much detail as these, because the names at the beginning are the ones where many names fall under them. So that's why it takes a bit longer to explain. Eventually, we might be able to go through like 4 or 5 names in a lesson, inshallah. But these ones, we have to really make sure we understand them right, because these are the foundational names. That's what was mentioned right at the beginning of Ayatul Kursi, right? So, inshallah ta'ala, I really want to finish this if that's okay. So, we took the name Al-Hayy on its own. We took the name Al-Qayyoom on its own. Now, let's look at the name Al-Hayy, Al-Qayyoom when it comes together. What meaning do we get out of that? Huh? What meaning do we get out of that? Firstly, I want to tell you something powerful about Allah's names and His attributes. You know, Allah's names and His attributes are divided into 2 categories. Sifat, that are dhatiyah, characteristics of Allah, attributes of Allah, which are describing who He is, His essence, dhatiyah, who He is. So there's sifat fi'liyah, characteristics that are describing Allah from the angle of what He does. Fi'liyah, what He does, dhatiyah, who He is. So that in Arabic means essence. If I'm talking about you and who you are, I'm describing you. That's your essence. But when I'm talking, he runs, he jogs, he fasts, he plays, he eats, he cooks, he cleans. That's his actions. But if I say him, look, he's tall, he's skinny, he's that's talking about who he is. You understand the difference, the distinction? Okay. All of Allah Azza wa Jal. Pay attention. All of Allah Azza wa Jal's names are either sifat that are fi'liyah and or dhatiyah. It's one of these 2. Now Allah's name Al-Hayy, which one of these 2 are they? Is it describing something about Allah, or is it describing an action that Allah does? About Allah. This name Al-Hayy is such a powerful characteristic about who Allah is, that all of the other characteristics that describe who Allah is, they come underneath Al-Hayy. As-Sami', the one who sees. Al-Basir, the one who sees. Al-Alim, the one who has knowledge. All of these, they come and they are defining who Allah is Al-Hakim, the most wise. These are all defining Ar-Rahman, the most merciful. These are describing who Allah is. And Al-Qayyum is what Allah does. So then all of the other names of Allah that talk about what Allah does, He provides, He creates, He protects, He responds, He subjugates. These all come under Al-Qayyum. They all come under Al-Qayyum. So all of Allah's names are summarized and found in these two names. They are found in these two names. So Al-Hayy is a sifa dhatiyah. It's describing Allah's essence. Al-Qayyum is describing Allah's actions. And all of Allah's actions are with regards to Him standing. Either He's referring to Him being independent of Himself, or Him standing for the affairs of His creation. So all of the other names of Allah that, remember, His names are either His actions or about Him. All of the other names of Allah that are about His actions, they come back to Qayyum. And all of the other things that describe who Allah is, they come back to Al-Hayy. And here's the powerful part, which we didn't even realize. And we've been reading this our whole life. When Allah, in Ayat al-Kursi, He says, Allah. Who is Allah? He describes Himself as Al-Hayy and Al-Qayyum. Literally in 3 names, Allah summarized Himself to you. All 99 names are there in those 3 names. And that's one of the reasons why this is the most powerful ayah in the Quran, because it explains who Allah is. Like literally, if you pondered on these 2 names, you've got Allah Azza wa Jal, who He is. And Al-Hayy and Al-Qayyum, all the other names come to these 2. Al-Hayy and Al-Qayyum, they go back to one name, which is what? So look at Ayat al-Kursi. Allah, who is He? Who is this Allah? La ilaha illahu. He's the one that you worship alone, and you don't worship anyone else besides Him. Okay, why should I worship Him? Why am I worshipping this one that you call Allah? Al-Hayy al-Qayyum. He's Al-Hayy al-Qayyum. Okay, Al-Hayy al-Qayyum. That's deep. Can I get some examples? Allah said, لا تأخذه سنة ولا نوم. Let me explain what Al-Hayy al-Qayyum is. لا تأخذه سنة ولا نوم. He does not feel sinner. What's sinner? Sinner is, just before you sleep, just, I'm getting tired now. When you're driving, there's doors off from it. That's sinner. Allah said, Allah does not. Allah Azza wa Jalla, He does not feel drowsy. ولا نوم. He does not go to sleep. If Allah went to sleep, who would maintain the heavens and the earth? Sleep is weakness. Sleep means your knowledge is suspended. It means your power is suspended. Your senses are suspended. That's why again we say Christianity is a false religion. Right in the beginning of their Bible, it says God created the heavens and the earth in 6 days and He rested on the 7th. How can God rest? لا تأخذه سنة ولا نوم. And then after He told you He doesn't rest, and after He told you He doesn't get tired of sleep, له ما في السماوات. To Him belongs what? The heavens and the earth. وَمَا فِي الْأَرْضِ, even what is inside of the earth. And then Allah goes on to describe Himself some more. And now is not the place to explain Ayatul Kursi. But then at the end, Allah Azza wa Jal, He says, وَلَا يَؤُودُهُ حِفْظُهُمَا. This heavens, this earth, Allah doesn't get tired in preserving it. Allah is always maintaining it. وَلَا يَؤُودُهُ حِفْظُهُمَا. He never gets tired. He never takes a break. He never takes a second to maintain the heavens and the earth. He's always there maintaining it. And then Allah ends, وَهُوَ الْعَلِيمُ. He is the most high. Al-Azim. He is the one who is the most mighty, great. And that is Al-Hayy Al-Qayyum. Inshallah, just some concluding points. Now that you know this about Allah's name, Al-Hayy Al-Qayyum, I have to urge you to not be one who neglects making dua to Allah with these two names. Why? Because these two names, the Prophet ﷺ said that there is a name of Allah which is Allah's greatest name. إِذَا سُئِلَ بِهِ, the Prophet ﷺ said, إِذَا سُئِلَ بِهِ أَعْطَى وَإِذَا دُعِيَ بِهِ أَجَابَ. If a person finds this greatest name of Allah and they make dua with this greatest name of Allah, whatever he asks for, it will be given to him. Whatever dua he makes, it will be responded to. So the reason, like I said, you make dua but we don't do it right? These two names are a reason for your dua to be accepted. The scholars have a different opinion. Some say that the greatest name of Allah is Allah, and the others say the greatest name of Allah is Hayy Qayyoom. Ibn Qayyim al-Jawziyah was from those who held that view. And the greatest name of Allah is Allah, inshallah ta'ala. But the hadith in which the Prophet ﷺ mentioned Ismullah al-A'zam, the greatest name of Allah, he was in the context of the name Allah and Al-Hayy and Al-Qayyum. All three of them were being used. So when you make dua, do not neglect this name Al-Hayy, Al-Qayyum in your dua, especially when you're making dua for something when you're in a time of need. Shall I tell you why? Imam Ibn Qayyim rahimahullah ta'ala, in his great book Zad al-Ma'ad, he explains. He said there is a relationship and a link between you using Allah's name Al-Hayy Al-Qayyum when making dua, especially when you're in a time of need. Shall I tell you why? Look, he breaks it down. He says, when people have problems in their life, their problems are either due to one of two things. You tell me if there's a third. You won't find one. Problems in life happen because of one of two things. Either they happen because you are deficient as a being, as in your life is deficient. Your life is not perfect. Because of it, you get sick. Because of it, you get tired. Because of it, you become depressed. Because of it, you feel pain. Because of it, what? You feel all these things. So that's one reason why people suffer in life. Because they suffer because they themselves are deficient. The second reason why you suffer in life is because of an action that either you did or someone did to you. You done something dumb, it got you in trouble, now you're in jail. You done something dumb, now what? Your wife, she wants to leave you. You done something dumb, or someone done something dumb to you. They oppressed you, they stole from you, they robbed from you. So Ibn al-Qayyim said, this is pain. This is the human being suffering. Either because they are deficient, and because of their deficiency they are open to sicknesses and pain because they are not perfect to deflect it, or number two, because of an action that was done to them by themselves or someone else. He said, so when you make dua to Allah with His name Al-Hayy and His name Al-Qayyum, you are affirming and calling out to Allah, recognizing your deficiency as a slave and His perfection as a king. As in, Allah, you are perfect in terms of your living. There is no shortcoming in terms of your life. So no harm can ever come to Allah. Nothing bad can ever happen to Allah. And you're Al-Qayyum, Qa'imun li nafsik. You stand for your own self. You're independent, so no one can do anything for you to harm you. Rather, Allah, you do actions to deflect harm from us. So when you make dua with these two names, إِذَا سُئِلَ بِهِ أَعْطَى وَإِذَا دُعِيَ بِهِ أَجَابَ. You make dua, Allah will give you what you're asking for. He'll respond to you when you call on Him. So do not neglect a dua when you don't mention these two names. And the Prophet ﷺ himself used to say, it was mentioned, إِذَا كَرَبَهُ الْأَمْرُ, or إِذَا كَرَبَهُ أَمْرٌ. If a situation would distress the Prophet ﷺ, he would say, Ya Hayy. He would say, O ever living one. Ya Qayyoom, the one who maintains and preserves and sustains and protects. بِرَحْمَتِكَ, with your mercy. أَسْتَغِيثُ, I am begging you. I am seeking a huge help in you. Istighatha is not normal, it's big. And the Prophet ﷺ would do that whenever he was in that situation. So brothers, please, whenever you make that dua and you raise, don't leave these names Al-Hayy Al-Qayyum, and also mention Allah. You can say Allahumma, oh Allah, Anta Al-Hayy, Anta Al-Qayyum. You are Al-Hayy, you are Al-Qayyum, and then ask. And when you make that dua, please make dua for me and my family as well. I would really appreciate that. Just write that down in your notes. Please. Right now. Dua for Imran, his family and his friends. And then you're all, inshallah, my friends. So you're all making dua for each other. Imran, his family and his friends. And then you can stretch it for me, make dua for forgiveness, Jannah, knowledge, rizq. You can go in for me, inshallah, I don't mind. I'll be very grateful. And then to conclude, another ayah, another place where Allah mentioned the name Al-Hayy and Al-Qayyoom together was in the context of the Day of Judgment. To show you that on that day, Allah said, وَخَشَعَتِ الْأَصْوَاتُ لِلرَّحْمَنِ, all of the voices, the sounds of the people will become quiet. فَلَا تَسْمَعُ إِلَّا هَمْسًا. فَلَا تَسْمَعُ إِلَّا هَمْسًا. You will not hear anything except the footsteps of the people quietly. Where are they going? Where are they going? Who are they going to? Al-Hayy, Al-Qayyoom. And that's why Allah said a few verses after, وَعَنَتِ الْوُجُوهُ لِلْحَيِّ الْقَيُّومِ. The faces on that day, they will be humble before the ever-living one, the one who maintains and protects. وَقَدْ خَابَ مَنْ حَمَلَ ظُلْمًا. Destroyed is the one who was unjust, oppressive. And more greater oppression is to not give the rights of Allah to him. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك.
Yo,
what's going on, bro?
yeah, I got the thing.
What? How much is in there?
20 mil.
You being serious?
Yeah, hold that. It's yours now.
You guys are probably wondering how this dusty looking camera is worth 20 mil. Let me break it down for you. About 6 years ago, some brothers and sisters gave us about £600 in order for us to purchase this camera to make da'wah videos. 6 years later, alhamdulillah, we made well over 1,000 videos and we reached over 20 million plus views on YouTube alone without taking into account all the other social media platforms that we're on. So those people at the time when they gave that money, I don't think they had any idea that that £600 that they gave was gonna go towards a camera that would reach 20 million people who watch videos and they changed their lives after having watched them, who watched these videos and started praying, who watched these videos and accepted Islam. Can you imagine if they were sincere, the kind of reward that they're gonna get on the Day of Judgment, inshallah ta'ala? But now here's the issue. This camera is 6 years old. I mean, there's cracks in it, it's breaking, it's well past its sell-by date. We're trying to take things up to the next level. In order to do that, we need a new camera. In fact, we need more than one. We need more equipment. We need to actually hire a bigger media team. But all of this stuff, it comes with expenses, it comes with costs. And over the next 6 years, inshallah ta'ala, we're looking to reach well over 20 million people. Now look, I'm gonna be direct with you. I'm about to ask you for some money to put towards the da'wah for the sake of Allah. But before I do that, I wanna tell you some figures, some statistics to show you the kind of reward that you might be looking at, inshallah, if you come with sincerity and the donation. Just take a look at the kind of numbers we have over the last 90 days. Over the last 90 days, we received over 1.4 million views on our YouTube channel alone. That's 466,000 views every 30 days. That's 15,555 views per day. That's right. You could be in your sleep, sleeping 6, 7, 8 hours a day, however much you sleep, and just earning a reward, inshallah ta'ala. Why? Because you gave a bit of money that went towards a very big project. Now, with that 15,000 odd views a day, if you average that out across 6 years, which is the lifespan of this camera, do you know how much reward that is, inshallah? That's 34,065,450 views. I don't know about you, but that kind of reward, I need that in my life. This is not the kind of opportunity that we should be passing up, especially if you've got sins. The Prophet ﷺ said that giving charity wipes away sins the way that water, it extinguishes fire. So look, say no more, inshallah ta'ala. I don't feel like I should have to convince you towards giving to a project like this anymore. If you want that kind of reward, you want the da'wah to spread, you want la ilaha illallah to spread across the internet, inshallah ta'ala, then you want to give at the link below to this project. Assalamu alaikum. Peace. Remember, 20 mil, yeah, and that's on YouTube alone.